It all started when my son was 2. My ex-wife, who is a pediatrician, began to transition my son to a girl right while I was living there and we were still married. She began to I first noticed it when she would put him into timeouts and she would say, "Don't be a boy. The monsters only eat boys," and then leave him alone in a room, things like this. And when I said she couldn't do this anymore, she used her relationships with licensed care providers to force me out of the house. She filed for divorce. At 3 years old, my son told me that his mother says that he's a girl and that I'm wrong, that he's a boy. If you go onto YouTube, you can search for "Mommy Says I'm a Girl." It's probably got 1 billion views out there. That went worldwide. I'm an Orthodox Christian. It even went all over Eastern Europe. They couldn't believe it. And it's the first iPhone video I ever took. And it's my son just past his 3rd birthday telling me that mommy says he's a girl. This began to get ever worse. She began to socially transition him to a girl. She presented him to the world as a girl named Luna and put him into a dress. The Capel School District under Principal Mickelson helped to transition my son secretly behind my back. And we can talk about why that's legal in all the 50 states right now. I would bring my son to school in boys' clothes. The teacher would give him a dress and make him use the girls' restroom.
Wait a second, stop. The teacher would?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't find out about this for over a year.
So wait. I mean, let me just stop you real quick right there, because that's it is one thing. Like, look, the most complicated part of this is typically in a lot of these situations you have parent against government or parent against school system,
right,
or parent against. Now you have parent against parent. And you would think that the proper position for the school in something like this might be to be like, this is something for them to work out. If the boy, I mean, I wouldn't blame a teacher for saying, if the kid shows up in a dress, it's not my position to change him. If the kid shows up in pants, it's not my position to change it.
Right.
You actually had a teacher physically taking your child and changing their clothes?
Yes. There was a dress they kept at the school, and he would change into that dress if I brought him in boys' clothes, which I always did. And the important thing to know here is right up until the time I lost my parental rights, 6 years later, my son never presented as a girl to me. He's always presented as a boy to me and a girl to his mother. And I asked him about it, and he just flat out told me, my mom doesn't love me if I'm not a girl. And that's why he would wear girls' clothes. So as this ramped up with the school issue and her presenting him to the world, as a girl, after our divorce, we had a second trial in 2019. I brought in the world's transgender experts to that trial in this little courtroom in Dallas County. She brought in the world's experts on her side. She didn't put a single one of her experts on the stand because we would have demolished them. During depositions, she had hired Johanna Olsen Kennedy, who runs the largest gender clinic in America. I just asked her in the deposition, very simple question. What is the medical basis for removing healthy body parts from children? You're a doctor, you have to have a medical basis. And she said, if they cause psychological distress, they're not healthy body parts, and we remove them. So she didn't put any of her experts on the stand.
Wait,
brought in
Can I stop you right there real quick? So let me get this straight. If somebody's right eye caused them psychological distress, her response, then her logic would be, then it is perfectly okay to remove a healthy eye.
Yes, and there is a psychological condition called body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Where these people go out of the country to have their body parts removed because it's actually illegal in the United States to do that. But they made a special exception for castrating kids. The FDA made a special exception for it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
In 2019, I brought in Dr. Levine, who ran the first transgender clinic at Johns Hopkins University in the 1970s. And they shut their clinic down after 4 years because all their data showed that the treatments were harming patients. So we knew back in the 70s, all of this stuff was bad and evil and didn't work. So I won the 2019 trial. I got 50-50 custody, no child support. And most importantly, I got a check on all of the medical rights. So she couldn't do anything to my son. During that period, I had spent several $100,000 of my own money and created an entire movement in Texas to pass a law in this state to outlaw these procedures. I successfully did that in 2020. They took out 3 sentences from that law that I wrote, which classified it as felony child sexual abuse. And that becomes important later. So what the Dallas County judges did is they said, well, we didn't get the verdict that we wanted from the Texas jury, and the judge didn't do what we wanted. So they transferred my case to the 301st District Court under Judge Mary Brown. I call her Bloody Mary Brown. Bloody Mary Brown, using temporary orders, systematically has stripped me of all my parental rights. I can't see my children. I can't write them letters. I don't know what school they go to. I haven't seen them in 3 years. I have no idea what's happened to them.
Okay, let me stop you right there real quick, because this is always the question, right? This is always the thing where it's like, okay, all this sounds really good, but you lost your parental rights, and surely a judge would not have done that without good cause. So knowing that anybody can go and look this up and look at the judge's opinion and whatnot, tell us what the justification was for you losing your parental rights.
The quote from the order stripping me of my parental rights said that I was unable or unwilling to follow the court's orders. So the question is, what were the court's orders? There were two of them. One of them was for supervised visitation. The judge chose forensic counseling services, which is based out of Dallas County. It was a gay and transgender therapist who would refuse to allow me to change my son into boys' clothes during the visits. Because I have always refused to affirm my son as a girl, I declined to go to the supervised visits. The second reason is I'm under an illegal and unconstitutional gag order. This interview is illegal in Texas and California. I'm not allowed to talk about any issue around transgenderism, gender expansiveness, or gender dysphoria. I have a lifetime ban from all interviews, writing newspaper articles, doing any podcasts, or writing any op-eds or articles. And I'm not even allowed to tell you whether my sons are boys or girls.
Wait a second.
So I have never.
How do they? How in the? So they actually. She. Was this part of her taking away your custody rights? Was a corresponding gag order that says you can't talk about transgenderism?
They were trying to shut down my political advocacy to get that law passed in Texas. They didn't want me to go testify at the state legislature and to lobby in the state legislature to get that law passed. That's the real reason they put that gag order on me. And because I didn't go to supervised visitations, which would have forced me to affirm my son as a girl, and because I have consistently violated the gag order on principle, I've told the judge in court that I have contempt for the text of the order for violating my rights as a Texan. I have, because Texas has better free speech rights than even the federal government. So I have contempt as a Texan for the text of the order. I have contempt for her as a judge for issuing such an order against a citizen of the state of Texas. And so I'm in maximum contempt of court. And I told her she was obligated to give me, therefore, the maximum sentence for criminal contempt, which is 18 months in the Lou Sterrett jail in Dallas County. And she refused to send me to jail. And the reason was I had a writ of habeas corpus already prepared, and it would have been struck down in 4 days, and I'd have been out. And I could have sued the county and sued the county's insurance company for millions of dollars for violations of my rights. So instead, what they did is they said, well, you can't follow the court order. So because you can't follow the court order, you can't see your kids anymore. And they chose that route.
So this was 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
And then because I finally got that law passed and it went into effect in 2021, January 1st, 2021, my ex-wife petitioned the court to let her move the children to California so she could castrate my son. Judge Bloody Mary Brown in the 301st District Court of Dallas County allowed her to move to California to castrate my son. I took that up to the Texas Supreme Court, which is supposed to be a conservative court, and Justice Blacklock, I call him Black-Hearted Blacklock, and Justice Young wrote an opinion denying my petition, saying absurdly that my son was no more likely to be transitioned in California than he would be in Texas.
Oh, wait. Stop. How does anybody say that with a straight face when California has passed its own legislation, setting itself up as something of a sanctuary state for this sort of thing? Like,
it's a transgender kidnapping state. And that was the argument that I made to the Texas Supreme Court. I said, if the court finds that it's not in my son's interest to have these procedures done, California will not return my sons, even on a court order. And so this order by the district judge, Bloody Mary Brown, amounted to removing the protections of Texas law from a child in order to abuse them. And I have an opinion from Ken Paxton, who I consider the best attorney general in the history of the United States. He's won more federal cases against the federal government for states' rights than any attorney general in history. He's definitely the best one in Texas history. And Ken Paxton did a thorough analysis of this at federal law and Texas law. He went back into English common law and even into Spanish juridical law, because we trace our legal system through Spain. Though it doesn't matter where you go, it's always been illegal to castrate kids because the children have a fundamental liberty interest in procreation, and no parent can remove a fundamental liberty interest from a child permanently. That's why you can't tattoo your child, you can't give your kid drugs, and so forth. So even with all of that evidence, the Texas Supreme Court under Justice Blackheart Blacklock let my son be moved to California. I'm now going to trial on the 28th of this month. This is my last shot. If I lose this trial, my son will be castrated in November.